What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn. Gabe, it is just me and you tonight. Kenny will not be joining us, so once again, we're shorthanded. I know it feels like it's been a lot, but it's summertime. It's just how it is. Vacation stuff going on. Speaking of vacations, Gabe, you have made it back finally from San Diego. How was the trip last week?
It was phenomenal, man. It was great. I got to play golf at Torrey Pines. I broke 100. Can I get a round of applause? Nice. Come on, give me a little round of applause for that. Yes, golf clap.
We'll go for that.
That was great. Got to give Myers an in-and-out experience. He got to visit with Grandma and Grandpa, so that was great. The travel there sucked, though, and back. The travel there and back was horrible. On the way there, first flight with a seven-month-old, 13-hour day. We missed a flight in Houston. Now, granted, Houston and the state of Texas had horrible flooding, and prayers out to everybody who was involved with that. So, it was out of our control. We ended up flying from Houston to Dallas to San Diego. So that was a stressful day. 13 hours all said and done. 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. Our time is what that travel day consisted of with a 7-month-old. And he handled it like a champ. I'll give him credit. Until the very end, he was good. He woke up from a deep sleep because they turned on the cabin lights, and he just lost it. It was a little – you have, like, the people that are trying to get their late-night sleep that have been delayed as well. Looking back, I'm like, look back one more time. Look back one more time. I got something for you.
Last few minutes. They can handle it.
Then on the way back, we're supposed to come back on Tuesday, and Southwest delayed our flight to – we were supposed to go through Houston again, starting at 1:20. They delayed us to a Denver flight connecting to Memphis. They put us on that Denver flight, and the layover time was negative 38 minutes. So we figured probably shouldn't do that unless Denver has another flight to Memphis later that night, because the original one was supposed to take off at 7:20.
Yeah.
And we looked at it. There was no flight out of Denver. So they were just going to strand us there, put us up in a hotel. And with a 7-month-old, that's a no-no. So we had to come back on Wednesday. But we did get $200 for me, $200 for my wife out of it. So we have we can go redeem our $200 towards another flight on Southwest.
Yeah, no, that's
it was rough.
The last 3 people I've known that have flown anywhere have had serious difficulties. One of my best friends, his dad, Anna Ruth's dad, a couple weeks ago got stuck for 36 hours or something like that, and now it's just. I'm here
36 hours?
Yes. Yeah. And what he was coming back from DC, got stuck in DC, then got stuck in Charlotte. I've heard nightmare after nightmare. And I already don't like flying, not because I'm scared of it. I just hate being inconvenienced. And now I'm hearing all this, and it makes me want to go less and less. And I've got an overseas flight, or not overseas, but out of the country flight in December that I'm like, gosh, I hope it didn't get jacked.
It usually goes well. This one was really rough. And honestly, it's good because we started off on the worst possible foot traveling with Myers. And now it's only up from here, you know. Glass half full. Look at it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's really about. I don't have many notes from the weekend. Just hung out with family and friends, so nothing crazy. You got something else?
Also, are you a Major League Baseball guy? To go into games, maybe?
It's okay. I'll be going to a Cardinals game next month. Anna Ruth's family is huge Cardinals fans. So
if you ever end up on the left coast in Southern California, go to Petco Park. You won't regret it. It is unbelievable. They have a problem with foot traffic getting in. They only have 2 entrances and 2 exits.
Yeah.
But it is such a beautiful place to see a ball.
Nice.
We stayed start to finish. Great presentation of the game. Obviously, they have Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado and stars,
right?
As opposed to the Cardinals, for example.
Yeah.
Even though they're staying afloat, but it was awesome place. I hadn't been in 5 years.
Yeah.
For a baseball game. I went to the Holiday Bowl with Drake May and Bo Nix facing off against each other in 2023.
Yes.
But I hadn't been to a baseball game in 5 years. It was one of the best I've seen in a long time, or the experience part of it. So just wanted to throw that out there. Let's get into it.
We'll be at Busch Stadium in a couple weeks, but they are playing the Yankees, so at least there's that. They're not. Yeah. Last year when we went, they played the Nats, and it was just but they play the Yankees this year, so it should be fun. Let's jump in it. I kind of prefaced this last week, and you weren't here for it, Gabe, but everybody knows this is the drill. It's customary. It's the summer, which means quicker episodes, shorthanded crews like we've seen over the last couple months. So just house cleaning note, it is what it is. It's that time of year. So you guys know if you are a sports fan and you take in podcasts, articles, any of that kind of stuff, you know it's slow. So that's
The
where
old dog days of the summer, man.
yeah, it is
Sports
dog
talk
days in the
radio.
summer. We got a quick Memphis football note. We hadn't got to talk much Memphis football over the last few weeks, but Brendon Lewis is heading to AAC Media Days for the Memphis Tigers. What does this mean to you? I know it signals something, so let's just talk about that a little bit.
It signals he's going to be the starting quarterback, which is not a surprise since
Yeah.
he's got on campus. I've heard Ryan talk about it. I've heard Penn Cramsey talk about the OC. They figured this guy was going to start. And how you should view it is like, I know there's no real gap years. Like when you think of a gap year, you think of you're going to be bad for a year and then you're going to be back on your feet the next year, whether it has to do with injury or incoming players or lack of continuity. Think of this as a pseudo gap year for Memphis, where you have an experienced guy who's going to start, help bring along the 4-star recruit, highest rated recruit in AJ Hill at the quarterback position this program's ever had. And then next year you want to get into the AJ Hill sort of business. But here's the truth of the matter. If you're still holding out hope that Antoine Hill is going to run out there to start the year, you're sorely mistaken. You do not bring a quarterback to media days that you don't intend on starting and likely starting for the entire season. It's the truth of the matter. And here's the thing. There's a lot to like about Brendon Lewis for 1 year. He brings a different talent to the quarterback room that we haven't seen from Seth Hennigan over the years. Now, Seth was really good at keeping the offense on pace, checking them out of plays. I think that, Brendon Lewis may have a little bit more of a struggle with that, but he can throw the ball relatively well, not on Seth Hennigan's level, but he'll give you a little bit more with his legs. And with that, when you look at the backfield that Memphis possesses this year, that could be very exciting. Yeah. Sutton Smith back. You're going to have Greg DeRosier, who can catch balls out of the backfield, run some RPO concepts. That should be fun. And then, of course, you have Brendon Lewis stepping in there with his legs. I think that they could be a little bit more dynamic in their backfield running the football because of Brendon Lewis and what he possesses as a dual threat guy.
Trey Amos also, right?
Trey. Well, yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it is what it is. It's hard to expect, no matter how highly ranked a quarterback is, for them to come in and start during their true freshman season. So I know some people will be disappointed. You won't get to see Antoine Hill from day one, but this is not official. This is just what this signal. I mean,
yes. You don't bring a quarterback to media days that you don't intend on playing,
right,
or starting. Quite frankly,
so
there's very few examples of that in the history of college football.
True. So I mean, I believe it's obviously the likeliest scenario, and it has been throughout the entire offseason. But I don't think it's a reason for discourage, like you're saying. I think it'll be okay. I think he'll be solid. I don't think he'll be spectacular. But do I think we see Antoine Hill this year? I do.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I don't know if that's in mop-up duty. I don't know if it's Brendon Lewis not getting the job done. I don't know if it's him just taking steps throughout the course of the year and then feeling confident enough in him to put him in there. Because in this day and age, honestly, like as sad as it is, like what does a red shirt really mean? I mean, how much
you can play a certain amount of plays and quarters and stuff like that. So
right,
I would imagine
even past that, I'm saying like how much does a red shirt really mean? Like used to, you're keeping that guy his entire 4 or 5 years, 5 years if he red shirts. Now that's so
red shirt, he can leave after his red shirt year.
Right. So I do think. I don't know if packages is the right word, because typically we see that with someone who's not developed as a passer and is a great runner. But I don't know. I just feel like he will find a way to get on the field, whether that's through performance of Brendon Lewis, injury, mop-up duty. Obviously, he'll come in and we'll see him some in that aspect. But I don't know. I think it's hard. He's going to be hard to keep off the field. I think Memphis fans will see him at some point in some capacity throughout the year. So don't be totally discouraged. Don't be like, we're not going to get to see the new shiny toy at all, because I think we will get to see some of him this year.
Yeah, and I would also keep an eye on Arrington Maiden maybe getting into the transfer portal. I'm not saying he is. I don't have a whole bunch of inside information. I just know how these things work. With
Right.
the ease of access for players, when you have a guy that, was a 1-year rental, recruited over Arrington Maiden, who has been here for a couple of years, he started seeing the writing on the wall is not that hard. Right. This is a gap year to get Antoine Hill ready to go. And if Arrington Maiden sees that, he's going to be like, well, I think I could play elsewhere, whether that be North Texas or a lower tiered school in D1. I've heard a lot of good things about Arrington Maiden, and he actually played relatively well during spring ball. So this is the type of guy and type of decision that ultimately could lead to that quarterback room looking different, even, going into next season, going into the offseason. So we'll see how that plays out.
100%. And like I said, I know there hasn't been a ton of Memphis football talk, but it's coming. We're not far. We're not far from fall camp and getting into talking more and more about the season. But we also got some Grizzlies news before we move on to the hot three. The buyout is done with Cole Anthony, and Gabe, just kind of open this up to you. What does it mean for them? I know this was obviously expected from the moment the Desmond Bain trade happened, but does this mean anything for Grizzlies fans? Is there anything they need to be watching for now?
The only thing this means is they freed up all of the space that they need to go get done every move that you already know about.
Right.
Right. So this was the first domino that needed to fall for Jaron, for Cam Spencer, for Ty Jerome, for Jock Landale, for all of these moves, for Santi. Right. And this means officially those moves can go through. So this is not really anything brand new. This is just more of the same, a confirmation, if you will, that everything that they said they were going to do at the beginning of free agency is ultimately going to happen. It just frees up enough space. Now, one thing that did come out of this is they get this buyout done, and now it looks like Cam Spencer's not going to have a 2-year deal. He's going to have a 4-year deal. They've doubled it up 4 years, $10.5 million. And you know what? Based on what I've seen from Cam Spencer in Summer League and when he's gotten his certain opportunities during the regular season last year, I remember the Heat game. He was phenomenal. Against the Suns, he was going after Kevin Durant. Like, I like that psychotic attitude.
Yeah.
I don't mind a 4-year deal. And I think that when you look at the amount of 4-year deals that Zach Kleiman has signed for the minimum, you have Cam Spencer, you have Vince Williams Jr., you have G.G. Jackson, you have Scottie Pippen Jr., those types of guys, and hitting on them and making them a part of your rotation going into the future, that's so important to today's day and age in the NBA. Having cost-controlled contracts that produce for you. Saw with the Pacers, seen it with the Thunder. You just have to find guys that make that happen. So far, Scottie Pippen Jr. has been an absolute hit on that contract. Can Cam Spencer be the next? Can Vince Williams Jr. bounce back? Can G.G. Jackson find some defensive ability? Well, that's yet to be seen, but I like that because it shows that Zach Kleiman understands what you need to do around the margins to really improve your roster.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that because I think you kind of summed that up perfectly. Quickly, though, before we move on to the hot three, we didn't get to talk about Jock Landale last week. We haven't got to talk about it with you either. So just quickly, I want to talk about that. Connor and I actually got to talk about it on your show last week with you being out. And I know people have looked at it different ways. You've had people that were positive about it, people that were negative about it, neutral about it. And really how me and Connor summarized it, and I'm sure you're in a similar boat on this, is it is a pretty lateral, neutral move, but I think it shows us where this front office and where this team is going, getting someone like Jock Landale, who has a lot of similarities to a player like Steven Adams, who's, tough down low, good protecting the rim, can rebound the basketball really well. And I think overall it just shows a shift for where this team wants to build towards. I think, having superstars like Ja and Jaren, and we know the old identity of the Memphis Grizzlies, and they haven't really found an identity over the last couple of years. And I know injuries have played a big role into that, but this just feels a little bit, and I know it's not a marquee player. It's not someone who's going to play a ton of minutes, but it does feel like a switch kind of back to just that toughness and getting someone who can defend down low and bring that presence, especially in the absence of Zach Edey. So, we can quickly get your thoughts on that. And then Zach
Edey's out, and Jock Landale complements his style very well. right? Like he's going to come in and do very similar things. Offensively, maybe not the same type of player you expect Zach Edey to be. We need to see Zach Edey step up and finish around the rim a whole lot better. But Jock Landale has a nice little floater in the lane. He can finish around the rim. He can be a lob threat at times. There was a game last year in the early season with the Rockets where he had 7 blocks in less than 20 minutes. That was a franchise record for the Rockets for blocks in under 20 minutes of game action, 7 of them. So he can do that. He can set screens at a high level. He's top 75th percentile in offensive rebounding. He fits really well with what the Grizzlies want to do in sort of relieving Zach Edey while he's out. And here's the other thing. When Zach Edey comes back, I think you'll have less of a switch up in style from starters to bench. And I really like that because with Jay Huff, for example, when he's your center, he's your 5 on the floor, Santi Aldama's that guy, or Brandon Clark's that guy. You're playing smaller. You get up and down the floor a whole lot faster.
The floor.
You're stretching the floor a little bit more, and that's a complete escape from what Zach Edey's providing with that first unit. Right. Now you have more of a semblance of, hey, Zach Edey is replaced with Jock Landale. They're the same type of player. Now we know what to expect. We can run that high pick and roll still. We can do what Tomas Isolo is going to try to implement, which is a lot more high pick and roll.
Yeah.
It just seems to make more sense. I like Jay Huff. I know they traded him away, but I just think his style jives better with what the Pacers are trying to do than what the Grizzlies are trying to do right this second, even though he was a very useful player for this team last year.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to get to the hot 3 now. Training camp is starting this week, so we're going to talk a little bit of NFL. SEC media days are coming up, so we'll talk a little SEC and college football. That'll be on the other side with the hot 3.
Choking and token. The Mid-South's first cannabis-themed jiu-jitsu tournament.
August 16th at Midtown Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu.
At 1 p.m. 21 plus to compete or consume.
Consumption not required.
Ounce of Hope is licensed by the state of Tennessee. This is all 100% legal hemp products. Everything's good to go.
We'll have gi divisions.
No gi divisions.
Madison bracket guaranteeing 4 matches per division plus an absolute winner.
Each fighter receives an Ounce of Hope gift bag, and there's prizes for every winner.
Check out the link below to sign up.
It was really strange because you even texted us. You were like, oh, man, they announced his jersey number. I'm going to talk myself into liking this cat. Yeah. And then they immediately bought him out. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was the worst kept secret in the NBA, right? Like, we were heavily shopping Cole Anthony, and there was obviously not a single trade suitor out there. Like, I don't think it's that Zach Lavin couldn't get it done or can't close the deal, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think people wanted to pick up that contract because of the CBA and the way people are approaching that second apron. They're treating it like it's it's the DMZ zone up there. You don't even want to get close to it. That's what it boils down to. I don't think this is a blight or a slight. Yes, could it have been better? Sure. Could we have turned it into another couple players or whatever? Yeah, fine, whatever. But our number one goal going into the summer was to sign Jaren Jackson Jr. We upgraded at the wing by getting KCP, and we freed up the cap space to sign Jaren Jackson Jr. by buying out Cole Anthony, one of the greatest short-term Grizzlies of all time.
Tune into The Daily Grind with your host, Luke Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
All All right, you know me. I'm not the Kenny Stubblefield of the Hot Three, but I'll give you some topics. We can run through some topics with me. But I'm not going to give you the whole spiel, the shebang, the pizzazz. Although maybe I am giving it to you right now. But let's go ahead and hop into it. NFL training camps are starting this week, and we need to get to some previews. What are you watching most closely when it comes to NFL training camp? This could be any one of the 32 teams, any storyline you're looking at. What are the storylines that catch your eye?
I think the biggest one for me, and it's always one of the most interesting, is second-year quarterbacks, especially with the draft class that we had at the quarterback position last year. And there are varying degrees of success. You've got Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, who really kind of set themselves apart. Then you have some players in the middle, like Caleb Williams, who wasn't put in the best situation. Now he's got Ben Johnson. What does he do? You've got J.J. McCarthy, who missed his entire rookie season due to injury. You've got Michael Penix Jr., who's going to take over as the starter after coming in towards the end of the year last year. So I think there's a huge jump between that rookie year and the second year with quarterbacks, and I think all of those players are very interesting because you have Jaden Daniels off this monumental season, and we saw C.J. Stroud fall into that sophomore slump. Does Jaden Daniels do that, or does he continue excelling? Does he continue rising with the addition of Deebo Samuel and some more offensive line help this year as well? And Bo Nix, second year of Sean Payton, they added a little bit, not a ton, but they got R.J. Harvey out of UCF in the backfield. They got J.K. Dobbins, who they signed in free agency. And then Caleb Williams is probably who I'm most excited about.
Yes, I'm very curious
Obviously,
how this works out.
Number one overall pick. The talent is there. The talent was around him as far as skill position last year goes, but now they really put a lot into the offensive line to protect him better. No Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen replaced by Luther Burden, the second rounder out of Missouri. DeAndre Swift, who was okay last year, better in Philadelphia, but had one of his best statistical seasons with Ben Johnson. How does Ben Johnson put his creativity and his stamp on this offense? I think Caleb Williams could have a monumental rise. And then another one, I'm extremely excited about Michael Penix Jr. How I stood on Michael Penix Jr. coming out of college. I thought he was way underrated. I thought people were overhyping the injuries and stuff like that. And I think with Drake London and Darnell Mooney coming back after a rebound season, and Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, some of the weaponry around him, I think he is set up for success. They also just have had a strong offensive line over the last couple of years. Lindstrom, Gary, Jake Matthews, some of these guys. So I think he could be put in a position to succeed immediately. And then J.J. McCarthy is the biggest question mark out of all of them because we saw what Sam Darnold was able to do. We know what Kevin O'Connell-led offenses look like. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, the top 5 receiving duos in the entire league. And then in the backfield, Aaron Jones was continued to be productive last year. Then you bring in Jordan Mason, who I think is an underrated running back. So, and I think they added some offensive line help as well. So all the second-year quarterbacks, I'm really keeping my eye on them and seeing what the chatter is in training camp over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Bears one is the biggest one for me. I'm so curious what Ben Johnson does to impart some knowledge on the Caleb Williams to get him going, because everything's in place now. There's nothing you can say about the Bears that's not in place. They have the wide receivers. They have the high-end talent there. They have a deep wide receiver room. Their offensive line is remade completely from the inside out. You have
tight ends.
Jonah Jackson. You have Joe Tooney. You have Drew Dahlman coming over from the Falcons, who was a pretty highly paid free agent. You tight ends, Colson Loveland, and we'll see what he looks like. Defense, you have your secondary is really taking care of you. Jaquan Brisker and Tyreek Stevenson, all these different guys that they brought in through the draft. I want to see how that works out. And what I found interesting last week, and I don't know if you saw this or earlier this week, Ryan Poles was re-signed by the franchise through 2029, and the rest of his contract runs through the same amount as Ben Johnson. Now, there's some people, and I agree with this, I fully understand your plight here, is you look at it and you say, well, he's 15 and 36, Ryan Poles is, as the GM of the Chicago Bears. But what I would tell you is a lot of that was Matt Eberflus being horrible at his job and not having a staff to support a young quarterback in Caleb Williams. And Justin Fields, same thing. So I think he's brought in the requisite amount of talent. And one thing that the Bears have really sucked at as an organization, is having some continuity at the GM and coaching positions. They have
Correct.
not done that. It was Jerry Angelo and Lovie Smith. Then it was Lovie Smith and Phil Emery. Then it was Phil Emery and Mark Trestman. Then it was Phil Emery and John Fox. Then it was John Fox and Ryan Pace. Then it was Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. Then it was Matt Nagy and Ryan Poles. Then it was Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. You get the point I'm getting at. They have not had any level of understanding of who's going to be manning those positions every year. At least with this, regardless of what you think of Poles, you have Poles at GM, you have Ben Johnson at head coach for the next 5 years. That would be one of the longest runs they've had of both positions staying in the same spot for that amount of time. So I agree with that. Another thing that I'm paying attention to is a lot of these edge rushers. How's the contract situation going to work?
Yeah.
So,
TJ
Watt looking for one. We'll see if the
Hendrickson.
Steelers ultimately give it to him. Trey Hendrickson still out there. Shamar Stewart still not figured out. And then your guy. How about your guy?
Yeah,
Micah.
Mike
I don't know what the Cowboys are waiting on, but
Yeah,
here
they-
we are.
I think they
I
got-
never know what they're waiting on, but here we are.
I think they got like 32 million in cap space right now. And you mentioned edge rushers. I'll bring up another one, and this is really close to second-year quarterbacks, and it's just overall the Browns' quarterback situation.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to bring that up.
And we know how it's going to play out early in the season. Like Flacco's going to be the starter, but when does Shador / Dylan Gabriel get into the fold?
Smash
And
Kenny Pickett? Anybody?
No, I don't think he's going to make the roster. And then the Deshaun Watson situation, I know he tore his Achilles, but if he's able to come back at some point in the season and they're not liking what they're seeing from Joe Flacco and Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, do they just like fully blow it up and go back to Deshaun Watson?
Oh, God.
There's so many different ways this quarterback room can go. I mean, you got the
None of them very great. Can we admit that? None of them
no.
very good options.
No, they've got the old guard and Joe Flacco. They've got the veteran who has just declined immensely since, off the field issues in Deshaun Watson.
They have the overdrafted rookie in Dylan Gabriel and the underdrafted rookie
Yes.
in Shador Sanders.
Yes, and one of them being, someone who captures headlines and is probably already one of the biggest media stars, at least like from a outside perspective in the NFL without even playing a snap or going through training camp. And then Dylan Gabriel, who no one's talked about but has constantly defied the odds, throughout his collegiate career at least. So it should be fascinating. And for as much turmoil that's there, Kevin Stefanski's a great coach. Like, he's just been dealt a bad hand with management and decision making above his head. And I think he's done what he can do. And then now you got Quinshon Judkins getting arrested over the weekend.
Yeah, that was wild.
Domestic violence charge. I mean, it's just he can't get a hand in anything. He cannot get help at all.
I'm going to put, Kevin Stefanski's a good coach, right? He brought the Browns back, won a playoff game, did that for the first time in a long time for that Browns franchise. This is my biggest criticism of him, though, and tell me if you're in lockstep. When it comes to the quarterback position, he does not mold his offense around his quarterback.
No, not
the
at all.
quarterback has to fit into what he wants to do, which is play action, run heavy,
Pro style,
big
like
stats.
old school pro style.
And to me, that's my biggest criticism of him. Like, you had Baker Mayfield. Look at what Baker Mayfield's doing in a drop back system with the Bucks, and that's through multiple offensive coordinators.
100%.
Right? Look at what he's doing. He's top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Last 2 seasons, and then Deshaun Watson. You took a guy who did the exact same thing that I'm talking about with Baker Mayfield with the Texans, and you put him into this rough and tumble AFC North style.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can say about Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a good offensive mind. I think he's a good coach. I just hate the way that he does not mold himself in the slightest to the quarterback that is brought in for him.
Yeah.
Now, that could also be on Andrew Berry, getting him the right quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think
who's a good example of this? A Jared Goff would thrive in that system.
Yeah.
Something like that. But you have to find a quarterback like that for him, and not a Deshaun Watson, a Baker Mayfield. But that's my one criticism of the guy.
Yeah,
Like, always
no,
is
it's definitely fair criticism. Fair criticism for sure.
All right, now moving on, we have, in honor of SEC Media Days, we're not going to talk Greg Sankey and his arrogant ass. We're not going to do all that. What we're going to do is pick our best team, worst team, sleeper team, and best quarterback in the SEC going into next season. Obviously, this is all projection. Now, let's go ahead and start with best team. You lead it off. I'll answer after.
Oh, this is tough. This really is tough. Like, Georgia, I think, is the favorites to win it right now. I'm just not leaning Georgia because I don't trust the quarterback.
They're kind of slept on to a certain extent, man.
They are, but they're, like I said, they're still the favorites. They're still plus 300, I think, to win the SEC. Bama's another one that, honestly, in the SEC, there's a lot of quarterback questions overall. But it's hard for me not to go Texas. And it's crazy to me to think that because I was not ever a big Steve Sarkisian fan. I know they've lost a lot over the last couple of years. They continue losing pieces. I thought last year, I remember when we did like a full preview last year of the SEC, I thought Texas was way overrated. I thought they were going downhill. So consider me a believer. I don't know what year one of Arch Manning will look like. I mean, we've gotten glimpses of it, but I think he's better than Quinn Ewers. I think he's better. I think he's more explosive. Obviously, he's a much better runner. He can allow them to be more dynamic and more multiple. And he's had to have taken steps forward in the last couple of years, and especially this year, knowing like going into the offseason, he was the starter. So, as much as I want to say other teams, I just feel like Texas is a hard one not to point to right now and say that they're the best team going into the season.
Yeah. What I would say, one, I get so annoyed with the people, and these are like other SEC fans, maybe trying to throw shade. They're like, well, if Arch was so good, why did Quinn Ewers start over him last year? Well, I guess Quinn Ewers have been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's familiar with Sark's system. Of course, like you go with, and they were so talented around him, it didn't really matter all that much. And Arch still doesn't know what he doesn't know. He was inexperienced. So, like, I always hated that. They're like, well, he's a 7th-round pick. Arch is supposed to be a 1st-round pick. Why would Arch not be able to start over? Because it's hard to start over the best quarterback recruit in the history of, what was it, 247? Like, his composite score as a quarterback was the highest ever, Quinn Ewers. But I'm going to go with Texas as well. And it's not just offensively. I think Ryan Wingo, their wide receiver, is going to have like a breakout year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's going to be really good. I think Wisner at running back could be C.J. Baxter as well. Like, I think they'll have a good backfield. Their offensive line is going to be taken care of for the most part, even though they're losing Kelvin Banks Jr. at the left tackle position. I still think they've got more than enough talent. I like what they have. I think when you look at like returning talent, plus ability at the quarterback position, plus defense. And also, we need to talk about what they did last year, won a college football playoff game.
Right.
I think it just all equals out to this is the team to beat in the SEC. Now, I have 2 names that people need to pay attention to going into next year. Like, these 2 guys are – we talk about offense with Texas because it's Sark and it's Arch Manning, and Ryan Wingo is a stud. They have 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball, really 3, but I'm going to name 2 that I just think are so damn good at what they do. Colin Simmons as outside linebacker, edge rush guy.
Yes.
As a true freshman last year at 6'3", 250, the guy had 9 sacks and led the team in TFL.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. He's a scary, scary player, and he's still going to grow. And I thought, from what I heard, he gained some weight in the offseason. He's up around 260. So that's scary for everybody. And then their middle linebacker, Anthony Hill Jr., absolute stud. 100%. He's all over the field, sideline to sideline. He can cover. He could be like an off-ball linebacker drafted in the 1st round.
Yes.
So keep an eye on him as well. But I just think they are the best on both sides of the ball. Like, all said and done, I think Texas is that team. Now, worst team, we don't have to spend too much time here. I'll lead us off. Mississippi State. Who else are you going to say? They were 2-10 in the 2-10 last year as an SEC program. They were miserable. They were horrible. I can't really put it any other way than that. Now, Jeff Lebby may be able to take a step in the right direction. He brought in Luke Cromanhope, the quarterback out of Florida State, who never really made a home there. He's got Blake Shapen. He's got some bad choices at quarterback, but he is a good offensive guy. Maybe he can design some things that help them win a couple more games this year, but I'm going to have to go Mississippi State.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. Like, I think, like you're saying, we could see them take steps in the right direction, but is it going to be anything beautiful this year? No. So that's really all I got there. Sleeper team. There's a lot of different directions you can go in this. I'll go with kind of the blinking light obvious one, and to me that's South Carolina with the year that they had last year. I don't know if I buy Lenore Sellers being a top 10 pick right now. I think that's just off season and projection. But that to say, he could be. He's got the cannon of an arm. He's got the running ability. He showed a lot of development through the year last year. Like he went from looking sporadic and trying to take off running the ball to staying in the pocket, taking hits, delivering big throws. That I think he could be someone that could make South Carolina surprising once again this year. And then you got Nick Harbor. He hasn't taken off the way that people expected him to.
He's an EA Sports legend already, though.
Oh, yeah. But, like, he is the freak of all freaks. Like, there are not many that are made like Nick Harbor. And if he's been able over the last couple of years to put together the IQ and the route running and just the overall football intelligence into the size, speed, weight, just freak of nature that he is, he could wreck college football. Like, he has that kind of ability where if him and Lenore Sellers get on the same page and he takes strides, like, they could both be high top 10 draft picks. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Dylan Stewart, true freshman last year, was one of the best defensive ends in the entire country. I mean, he is a monster. He is also a freak. And so if he can continue wreaking havoc on the defensive side of the ball, Lenore Sellers can continue to take strides. Nick Harbor becomes the guy that he was expected to be. Like, this team has bona fide top 10, top 15 NFL talent on the roster, and if they can all put it together, then South Carolina could potentially be a team that could beat anybody next year.
To your Nick Harbor point, even if he has not like cleaned up the route running, it hasn't really become a full, well-rounded college wide receiver. You could run 9 routes with him the whole game, every single game, and he's probably still going to put up stats. We'll see how that works out. My sleeper is disgusting. I'm going to fully admit that to you. I'm going to go Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
I think they're being slept on, brother.
Yeah.
I know that, like, when you look at the season totals, win totals, like, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is Alabama's getting a bunch of pub, Texas getting a bunch of pub, Ole Miss, Tennessee, all them teams getting a bunch. LSU is, a sleeper to people. I feel like people forget about Georgia.
Yeah.
I feel like, now, here's the difference between this year and the 2 years in a row they won the national title. The defense is not, like, bona fide best ever in the SEC caliber. Then it was. So we'll see, like, what the talent looks like on the defensive side of the ball. We know that Kirby Smart's always got the schemes, always got the players, but we'll see who's sort of filling in the cracks. I think the reason people are sleeping on them is Gunnar Henderson. And I get it. I didn't really see much from him. Like, people were trying to, like, crown him once Carson Beck got hurt. Like, oh, they're not going to drop off. I didn't really see much from him. Good or bad. I'm not going to act like I have a good feel for the kid. But I think the thing that gives me hope about Gunnar Henderson is Kirby had all of the time in the world after last year when Carson Beck was going to get in the transfer portal or go to the NFL draft. All the time in the world to go find another quarterback. And what did he do? Sat on his hand. Gunnar Henderson's our guy.
And who did he win natties with?
Stetson Bennett. Yeah. Right. So
and then Carson Beck.
I think that's sort of a nice little checklist item there for you to believe to a certain extent in Gunnar Henderson. That doesn't mean he's going to be a 4,000-yard passer and a 1,000-yard rusher. That's not what that means. But it means he'll run the system, keep them on pace, let the defense do their work, score enough, and have it going. But I will also say another big difference from the national title teams with Georgia, Mike Bobo versus Todd Monken is like night and day. Mike Bobo has he's got to be more inventive.
Yes.
It's like he forgot that tight ends existed.
Yes.
Last year. And I don't, except for the Tennessee game. Except for the Tennessee game.
Oscar Delp is really good.
He's a stud. He was supposed to be the replacement for Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
And if you'll remember, I know you're a Tennessee fan, the only game that he got Oscar Delp involved with it was the Tennessee game.
Factual.
And they ran away with it. It wasn't all that close by the end. So get back to what you do well, Mike Bobo, and don't be as lame as you have been.
I agree.
Since you took over. Now, best quarterback, this is up for debate.
Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, I'm not doing Arch Manning. I'm not doing DJ Lagway. I haven't seen enough from either. Garrett Nussmeier, I've seen him throw for 4,000 yards. Right. There we go. He's my guy.
Yeah, I agree. And with Barry and Brown coming in also from Kentucky, like I think he's gonna have an even better year this year. And at the end of the year, could it be Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway, Arch Manning, any of these guys? Yes, it could. But from what I've seen with Garrett Nussmeier, dude, he can make all the throws. He's got a very good, very good arm. He's not scared to take a hit, and he's not scared to, take chances either. So I really like Garrett Nussmeier.
And also, I'm going to be honest, when it comes to like the newcomers who people are picking, like everyone's going to lean Arch Manning's way for this particular best quarterback conversation.
Yeah.
I almost like the DJ Lagway pick over Arch Manning. One, because Arch Manning is kind of a lame. Everybody's doing it. But two, DJ Lagway,
He's a freak.
we talk about more physically gifted. He is more, listen, not mentally, not actually, like, he is more physically gifted than Arch Manning.
Yeah.
And I got to see him get more run last year with Florida. And here's the thing.
And he started to figure it out, too.
I know that it's a Manning, but like take DJ Lagway's skill set and put it at Texas. I think people have even higher sort of views of what that team's quarterback position could be. But that's just me. I my guy David Cobb, when I asked him this question, said DJ Lagway, and I liked that answer. I really did. All right, now final thing for the Hot 3, final thing for the show. Cooper Flagg has played 2 games in NBA Summer League. The first game, 10 points on 5 for 21 shooting. Next game, 31 points against the Spurs. And he went 10 for 21 from the field, and now he is officially shut down. What did you see from Cooper Flagg? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you want to see him a little bit more in some of it?
No, I think it was good. I think it's what we needed to see. And I know you had the overreaction after the first game, and everybody saying Cooper Flagg is getting shut down by Bronny James. I mean, all this stuff. So I know there was a lot of talk about it. But what they asked him to do was run the entire show. Bring the ball up the floor. Play the entire length of the court, shoot as many times as you can. Like, we want you taking shots. I think maybe, I don't know if he took 20-plus shots in any game at Duke. If he did, it was maybe one. But in both of these games, had 20-plus field goal attempts, was going up and down the entire floor. So, yeah, I think we saw what we needed to see. I don't feel any differently about him. I think you have some people that are just way overcorrecting right now and being like, maybe we overhyped this guy. Maybe we need to pump the brakes. He's an 18-year-old kid that played 2 summer league games and did things that he never did at Duke. So, like, just chill out. He
dropped 31 in a game where his team scored 69. I want to make that very clear.
And shot 50% from the floor.
And I don't know if you viewed it the same way as I did. That first game where he's being scrutinized, and it was a big game, and it's on ESPN, and it was $85 ticket prices, and it was the most expensive summer league game to get in ever. One, I think on the offensive end, I think the noise and everything got into his head. He looked a little bit out of his element to start the game.
100%.
But two, I'm going to say this straight up. I don't think he played badly. I don't. He just couldn't hit a shot.
Yeah.
He was getting to his spots. He was getting to his spots in the rhythm of the offense. It just wasn't falling. And then on defense, you watching into that game? I mean, he's splitting the difference, roaming, sees a drive, goes and blocks it, gets the rebound, takes it to the other end, finds Ryan Nembhard right there on the perimeter for a go-ahead 3. Like, everything outside of the shot making was great. He didn't turn the ball over at a high level. He did everything else well. Yeah. So that's why I say, like, even in that 10-point, 5 for 21 performance or whatever the hell it was, I didn't think he played badly. I thought he played fine.
Agreed. All right, well, that is going to do it for this week's episode. We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, you can do the same there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.